The measure of an angle inscribed in a circle, what'd you find? If it's inscribed. Inscribed was C-A-R in this diagram. What did you find about it? It's what? Say it louder.
Half.
It's half the measure of the intercepted arc. So if it's one of those inscribed, it's half the measure. So if the central angle would be 60, the inscribed angle would be 30. So it's always half the measure of the intercepted arc. Okay, so let's look at investigation number 2. Okay. Inscribed angles that intercept the same arc. What'd you find out about them? They're what? Are congruent. That's right. So if they intercept the same arc, they obviously have to be congruent because they're going to be the same measure. Investigation 3 that you got done doing. Angles inscribed in a semicircle. What'd you find out about those?
90 degrees.
They measure 90 degrees, are right angles. Or if you had this, you could put measure 90 degrees. And that should make sense because half of 180 is 90. Okay, the cyclic quadrilateral conjecture. Okay. The opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. Now, where they get the word cyclic, it basically means a quadrilateral that is inside a circle. So when you see cyclic quadrilateral, that means a quadrilateral that sits inside a circle. And the nice thing about the opposite ones is they're supplementary. And that should make sense because it's going to be 360, the total measure, and half of 360 is 180. And last but not least, your fifth one. Parallel lines intercept. What do you think goes in the box? Or goes in the blank? Congruent arcs on a circle. And that should make sense because if they're parallel, they stay the same distance apart. Therefore, your arcs are going to have to be congruent as well. So now we're going to look at one example, and then you'll be set for your homework. So this one says, find each lettered measure. Find each lettered measure. Okay, and so in here I need to find W, X, Y, and Z. So let's just start with W since it's alphabetical. Can anybody tell me what W is and why?
47.
Yeah.
80 because it has to be that plus 100 has to be 100.
Those are in a quadrilateral, right? The quadrilateral is inside the circle. Those are opposite angles. Opposite angles in a quadrilateral are supplementary, which means they add to 180. So W has to be 80 degrees. All right, let's see what else we know. Do we know anything else? Yeah?
Z would have to be 160.
Z has to be 160. Why does Z have to be 160?
You add 170.
Okay. Close. If I look at this angle right here, do you see that? Okay, that's an inscribed angle. That intercepts this arc. So since 80 intercepts this arc, this entire arc has to measure double 80. So that entire arc has to measure 160. Okay, so what is Z then? Z is 160 minus 47. So what does Z measure? 113, because we have to take off the 47 that was right here. Okay. Alrighty, anything else? We've got to find x and y somehow.
X could be 47 plus 73.
Ah, so let's look at this. Okay, so here we have another inscribed angle. Here's x, right? And it intercepts this arc right here. Well, what does the big arc measure? What does that entire blue arc measure?
120.
120. So I know that x is
60.
half of 120, which is 60 degrees, right?
And then y.
And so then now, once I find that 60 degrees, those are my opposite angles. And so what does y have to equal? 120. So you see how that works? You're going to have to kind of look for everything on these. Okay. So you're looking for inscribed angles. You're looking for cyclic quadrilaterals. You're looking for intercepted arcs. So your assignment is 1 through 16 on page 327. Okay, 327, 1 through 16, and we're going to be looking at these tomorrow. You'll also have a short quiz tomorrow.